This podcast is brought to you by UPS. Now one of the world's largest package delivery companies, UPS started out as a small business too, so they have the expertise and experience to make international shipping easy for your business. Find out more at www.ups.com/SMB.
Hello and welcome to Small Business Snippets, the podcast from smallbusiness.co.uk. I'm your host, Anna Jordan. Today we have Spencer Matthews, entrepreneur, TV personality and angel investor. He rose to fame on TV's Made in Chelsea and has since made appearances in shows including Celebrity Masterchef and The Jump. These days, he is the founder and CEO of low and no alcohol company CleanCo, as well as an investor in Cheesies cheese snacks, mental health resilience app Halen, and healthy meal delivery service Munchfit, among others. We'll be talking about starting a business post-pandemic and what Spencer looks for as an angel investor. Hi, Spencer.
Hi, how are you getting on?
Yeah, I'm doing really well, thanks. Yeah, looking forward to the bank holiday weekend. How about yourself?
Very much so. Everything's slightly blurry at the moment. Plenty going on,
Yeah.
and we're delighted to be as busy as we are in this tricky time. But all is well.
Great stuff. Okay, first I'd like to ask you a bit about your business, CleanCo, which we mentioned in the intro. I'm sure people are thinking, oh no, not another reality TV star jumping on the bandwagon of a trend and starting a business around it. But yours comes from a more personal place and your own relationship with alcohol.
Absolutely. I mean, I have that same reaction just in passing that many others do when reality stars or actors or whatever start businesses and expect it to be successful based on their personality, which often isn't the case. But no, my business, or our business, I should say now, we have an incredible team and fantastic shareholders and partners, which I look forward to getting onto, was born from a personal need. I drank excessively for many years, alcohol, I mean, for many years. And when I decided to make the positive change and move and throttle back my alcohol intake, well, to the point of teetotalism for a couple of years at least, I noticed that there was very little in the way of a credible alternative or replacement in this space. And I personally have always thought that change is quite a tricky thing. When you develop kind of behavioral patterns in society, it's often quite difficult to break them. And I think that comes from a lack of good products sometimes in interesting markets. So you know, the gap between desire and compromise is often quite vast, and that's why people stick in the desire camp, because a compromise is a compromise, and who would want to compromise when what you're really looking for is desire? So yeah, I mean, you know, I noticed that, you know, when I fancied a gin and tonic, you know, the next best thing was either just tonic water or a Diet Coke. And actually in the UK in particular, that made me stick out. For making a positive life choice made me stick out in a negative way, which I also thought was exciting. So we set about creating a clean drinking space where you can enjoy all the benefits of a non-alcoholic drink that's essentially seemingly alcoholic, followed, you know, by the success, I suppose, following in the footsteps of a very successful non-alcoholic beer, of course. But no, so in a nutshell, you know, we just wanted to give people the experience, the social experience of having fun, in inverted commas, and drinking alcohol without the high levels of alcohol.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talk about you're trying to do a positive thing with a negative reaction. Could you talk a bit more about what kind of reception you had?
Sure. Yeah, I think in general, not everywhere in the world, but here perhaps in particular, and times are changing. But you know, I probably when I was drinking my most was when I was a city broker, and you know, I'd spend, you know, we would drink every day and then socialize with clients in the evening, and drinking was just so normal, you know. And essentially, if you weren't drinking, you'd be perceived to be boring. Or in the case of women, if you're not drinking, people just assume that you're pregnant, or it can't possibly be because you're busy or, you know, focused or ambitious. It's turned into being a negative thing. And by the way, I was never berated by it or anything, but essentially there's a negative connotation that comes with not drinking, and I actually think that's partly due to the name. Non-alcoholic. Mocktails sound like a mockery. Why would anybody go to a bar and order something non-anything? If anything, you want to have a good time. So I just thought that, following in the footsteps of an already popular word with positive life decisions, clean eating, clean living, having a clean mind, a clean body, a clean spirit. I think I found it interesting to try and associate the already popular word, which of course we're not looking to claim, came from us, but really move it into alcohol and create a positive space within a negative industry.
I'd love to talk a bit more about the word clean and your use of it within the branding, because my understanding is that it's got quite negative connotations in some health circles, and that it's demonizing certain foods which are fine in moderation and so on. So Tell me a bit more about why you decided to go for that particular word in your branding.
Well, I simply, respectfully, of course, just disagree with that. I think the word clean is a great word, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. And I believe that if anything, it's really attractive and makes our proposition incredibly clear. Whether or not it's detrimental in other markets, I can't speak for those markets. I mean, I look after myself, and I believe that I have a good, well-balanced diet and that I'm healthy, and I often eat things that I'm sure are terrible for you. I think,
we all do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think living a balanced life is what we're all about. We are not anti-alcohol in any way. In fact, we encourage people to live life to the full and have an amazing time. But we also, particularly in these times, in a post-COVID world, are about to become very vocal about the importance of moderation, and drinking clean should play a part in your alcohol regime. I think full strength alcohol will one day be a thing of the past, and I'm not saying that alcohol will be abolished and people won't drink alcohol. There'll always be room for alcohol, but inherently alcohol is again, we're not waving some big flag that alcohol is bad for you, but full strength alcohol certainly has done a number on me over the years, and I'm sure anybody can attest to the fact that you very rarely, or in fact I'm pretty sure nobody has ever woken up saying I wish I drank more alcohol last night. It's usually the other way around. For me, and just my general decision-making process, being drunk is usually quite unhelpful.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would agree.
Today's opportunities for your business are borderless. As a global shipping provider, UPS is here to help your business capitalise on growing local and international markets and reach new customers across its global network. Find out more at www.ups.com/SMB.
I'd love to move into your going into investing, really. So I'd love to ask, because this is probably something that people don't really know about you or as much about you as an angel investor. So how long have you been an angel investor, and what got you interested in it?
I've always been interested in other people and other founders' businesses. I'm kind of led. Obviously being a founder myself, I'm quite a founder-driven investor. So if I care an awful lot about team and the founder and the vision, and in my opinion, the chances of success. But that's often just a kind of gut feel when you talk to someone. You evaluate in your own mind whether or not you believe that this person can achieve the things that they say they can achieve. I am one for a forecast, obviously, but I do think that forecasts change, and if the first domino doesn't go the way you want it to go, then presumably your model, I'm talking for at really early stage now, obviously now when we create a financial model for CleanCo and the Americas, and as an example, we do it in such a way that we're pretty confident that we'll be within 2% of our financial model, but at really early stage you don't know if you're going to sell 1,000 bottles on day one or 10 bottles on day one. So, it's really hard to kind of gauge where you're heading with stuff. But for me, it's, take Halen as an example. It's a mental betterment app. It trains your mental resilience. Joe Bates is a fantastic character, founder. You should interview him, if you don't mind me saying. You'd get a real kick out of it. He has the most wonderful story, and he's an incredibly down to earth and sensitive individual who's gone through an awful lot, but remains incredibly strong. And I think that's the kind of whole Halen idea. Halen is Old English for hero, and Halen was someone who conquers adversity. Back to this adversity point that we're all facing in some way or another at the moment. And it's just a really interesting and exciting idea. But I knew that I was going to invest in Joe before he had a business plan. So we were on a bus to Twickenham, I think, and Jodie Kidd is his partner, who's a friend of ours, and Vogue and Jodie are friends, and I had not met Joe. We were sat on the bus, and he was asking me about Clean, and this is about a year and a half ago, and so we were far less developed than we are now, and I was giving him my plans and projections and what I think is possible, and he shared the idea that was Halen with me, and immediately I thought, well, how brilliant. He was describing it as the Peloton of mental health, and I just thought he was fascinating. So then and there I decided that we'd get involved in that. So and that can be seen as shooting from the hip and unlikely to ever hit any home runs, but I'm in Halen at the very start, from the ground level. So almost any success that it experiences is good news for my investment, right? So I quite like really early stage stuff, albeit incredibly risky. And if you are listening to this and you're not that I'm a seasoned expert, but just do be very aware that when making any kind of investment, there's a good chance you might lose your money.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you yourself, the companies that you are invested in, as again mentioned in the intro, are quite closely linked. There's very much a health and wellness and fitness, they're quite well connected. What do you look for in a company that you may be considering investing in?
Experience in the team. So it's my personal belief that no one individual has the answers to anything. And regardless of the life that you've lived and the experience that you have, surrounding yourself with people who have more experience in the sector that you're looking to crack is always a good idea. Spare no expense to get the best people behind you, incentivize them well, make sure that everybody is happy, within the team, and that they are delighted to show up to work every day, and that they're incentivized to carry out the dream and the vision. And if I can feel that from another team, then that's a good starting point. I mean, I've spent many years working in jobs that I really don't like. And you hear about it all the time, that people, do things that they don't enjoy and live from paycheck to paycheck. And that's fine. Everybody's different and everybody has different dreams and goals. But for me, hopefully succeeding and being at the forefront of something, it's all about it being exciting. I struggle to sleep at night sometimes because I'm so excited for the following day to arrive so that I can get back into what I was doing the day before at work, and that for me is awesome. And I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by others who share that vision. So for us, it's like we're constantly smashing down walls. We're constantly feeling like we're kind of flying. And that's a feeling that I want to harness. And I felt that with Joe, and I loved his team. And I felt that with Munchfit, with Angus, and I used the product, obviously as well. If you use something and it's fantastic good, you want, if there has to be a reason that I've done all this rubbish television, right? So if I can spread the word on an incredible product at an early stage and get other people to try it, then perhaps that, in a strange roundabout way, is the value I can add to an early stage business, having done the rubbish TV. Yeah.
The last question I want to ask you is kind of twofold. So over the course of the pandemic, unfortunately, we've seen a lot of redundancies, but we've also seen the number of people starting their own businesses absolutely skyrocket. Yeah. So I guess from a business owner's point of view and an investor's point of view, one, what businesses do you think are in need just now? What problems need to be solved? And a couple of quick tips on how business owners can get started, because it can seem so overwhelming and there's so much information out there.
Yeah. Well, again, not having to leave your house, anything that delivers to your house, obviously, is a great business model at the moment. At one point, we were uncertain as to what would happen with retailers, right at the very beginning of the first pandemic. We were unaware if, the co-op was going to stay open. So, all of a sudden you're thinking, how are we going to eat? And like we weren't sure if Deliveroo would be operating or whatever. So anything that delivers things straight to your door is obviously great. Sorry, you kind of put me on the spot with that one. Any ideas? We've got the great Justin Hicklin, the chairman of CleanCo, sat just here as well. What problems need sorting, Justin? What do you think?
Day to day?
Yeah, just day to day in the UK.
People turning up and sorting out computers within half an hour.
There you go, computers. Sorting out within half an hour. Justin is of a different age, where computers must seem
not that old. No, I think that all the pain points in life ultimately will have some sort of instant response to it. So you can have instant plumbing, you can have, because people are not technically minded. So
electricians, it'd be good if an electrician was on call all time.
Premium plumbing service, premium electrician service, premium computer. If you've got a deadline and your computer crashes, you want somebody at your desk in half an hour, and you're going to pay 50 quid to do it.
Yeah, lovely.
Is that available? If the answer is no, then that's an opportunity.
Excellent. Let's get on it. Let's get the trademark registration on the line.
We're going to call it Key.
Yes, Key. Lovely. Well, anything essentially that simplifies what I think is anything that makes life easier is popular, right? People like shortcuts to things.
It's a really good idea. We should do that.
Okay, Justin. Well, why don't we talk about it after the pod? And that was in two. And if you're thinking about starting a business, sorry, I mean it's going to be ever so slightly boring because I feel like I might have already covered it. But surround yourself with excellent people. Don't cut corners initially. Raise more money than you think you might need. Don't be too bullish on what you own at the very beginning. If the right person comes along and the deal feels good, you should do it. Owning 100% of nothing is nothing, and owning a chunk of something valuable is valuable. So I think you get a lot of people who pitch to me anyway, who, they have these wild kind of views of where they're going to be in a few years, and they want to own 90% of it, and this is, they'll sell you this for this huge number, and you just go, but without key individuals, you'll get it nowhere near where you think you're going to get it. So share the love is what I'm trying to say, and just be intelligent with the raise. I remember right at the very beginning, I had very little idea of how to structure and start a business. I'd like to think I do now. And essentially, we needed maybe 12 or 13 times more money than I thought we might need. Just shooting off I was sat with a really interesting and eccentric gentleman who's built businesses before, and it was very funny. He asked me how much money I thought we'd need to get CleanCo off the ground, and I was talking in the kind of tens of thousands. I thought we needed 60 grand, maybe 100 grand, because I was thinking about things, on how do we get it going, and then how do we build from a small start. And I'll always remember it. He said, mate, you need about 3 million quid. And I was like, for what? And then, you kind of learn, and we raised a bit less than that. Actually, our first round, we raised 2.1 million pounds, but then quickly, at the end of the first year, raised another 7. And now we're looking, in fact, next week, we're opening a round to raise, 3 times that on top of it. So, we're moving incredibly quickly, but, money to get something going, particularly in a market that doesn't really exist, churns cash like you wouldn't believe. So try not to see business as kind of like going to war. Try not to go underfunded and underflanked. You need plenty of good company and plenty of cash.
Nice. And just quickly, you've talked about really liking exciting businesses, but getting wild propositions.
I was guilty of it as well. I think you get so wound up in your own head that your idea is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I'm not saying that good entrepreneurs shouldn't overvalue their dreams, because it's how you get there. If you start tiny, it's very difficult to grow it into something really substantial. So dream big for sure, but if you're unable to back up a really hockey stick kind of aggressive forecast, and you don't, had I gone into fundraising meetings, without some of my partners at the very beginning on essentially hot air, oh, well, how do you think you're going to achieve this level of turnover in 2023? And, and you haven't got a really detailed, concise answer that fits the bill, you're never going to raise any money. You just need to be quite careful with, I was looking to value CleanCo a lot higher than we ended up going to market with at the beginning, because I felt like this doesn't exist. We're going to be the best in the world. We're going to be the biggest no and low drinks company on the planet. And you just have to just calm down slightly and kind of replace the enthusiasm with projections that make sense to good people. I think there's a lot of noise out there in the market. Everyone thinks that they're the best, and everyone thinks that their idea's going to change the world. So it's just a question, I suppose, of judging one's character when you're talking to somebody, and understanding what you think to be relevant and truthful.
Well, that's a great place to wrap up. So thank you for coming on the podcast, Spencer.
That was a great pleasure. Thanks very much for having me.
You can find out more about CleanCo at clean.co. You can also visit smallbusiness.co.uk for more articles on branding and valuing your business. Remember to like us on Facebook at Small Business Experts, follow us on Twitter at Small Business UK, all lowercase, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, linked in the description. Until next time, thank you for listening.